The elegant restaurant buzzed with evening conversation as Claire Anderson navigated her wheelchair through the entrance, her heart pounding with nervousness. At 29, she was a successful architect, but dating had been complicated since the car accident 3 years ago that had left her paralyzed from the waist down. Her best friend Maya had insisted on setting up this blind date. His name is James. He's a good guy, I promise. Just give it a chance. Claire had been hesitant. Past dating experiences had ranged from awkward to painful, with men either fetishizing her disability or treating her like she was fragile and broken. But Maya had been persistent, and Claire had finally agreed. She was directed to table 12, where a man in an elegant suit sat waiting. He was handsome, well-dressed, and stood politely as she approached. "Claire," he asked, with a warm smile. "That's me. It must be James. Please have a seat." He moved to help with her chair, then caught himself. "Sorry, do you need? I've got it, thanks." Claire positioned her wheelchair at the table with practiced efficiency. "I appreciate you asking instead of just assuming." They ordered drinks and fell into conversation. James was a corporate lawyer, divorced for 2 years, with an 8-year-old daughter named Sophie. He was easy to talk to, asked thoughtful questions about Claire's architecture work, and seemed genuinely interested in her life. But Claire noticed something unsettling. A group of men at a nearby table kept glancing over and whispering, occasionally laughing. One of them, a man in his 30s with slicked back hair, seemed particularly amused. Claire tried to ignore it, focusing on her conversation with James. But the man's voice carried across the restaurant during a lull in the ambient noise. "I can't believe she actually showed up. Mark's blind date prank actually worked." Claire's blood ran cold. She looked at James, whose expression had shifted from pleasant to confused. "What did he just say?" James asked quietly. Before Claire could respond, the man at the other table continued, louder now, clearly drunk. "Setting up the girl in the wheelchair with Mark. This is going to be hilarious when he stands her up. She's probably been stood up so many times she's used to it." James stood up so abruptly, his chair scraped loudly across the floor. The entire restaurant seemed too quiet as he walked directly to the other table. "Excuse me," James said, his voice cold and controlled. "Did you just say this was a prank? That someone named Mark set up a blind date with a woman as a joke?" The drunk man looked less confident now, aware that other diners were watching. You were just being cruel. You thought humiliating someone for having a disability would be funny?" James's voice was quiet but carried authority that made even nearby tables listen. "Let me make something very clear. That woman you're mocking, she's with me. And if I hear one more word of disrespect from this table, I'll make sure the manager knows exactly what kind of people are dining here tonight." He turned back toward Claire, but not before adding, "And for the record, she's the most accomplished person in this restaurant. Award-winning architect, mid-graduate, marathon wheelchair racer. Your friend Mark lost the chance to meet someone extraordinary. His loss." James returned to the table where Claire sat, tears streaming down her face, not from humiliation, but from the shock of being defended so fiercely by someone she had just met. "I'm so sorry," James said, sitting back down and taking her hand without hesitation. "I didn't know this was a setup. Maya told me she was setting me up with an architect friend. I had no idea someone was playing a cruel joke." "Wait," Claire said, processing. "Maya set you up too?" "She told me she was setting me up with a lawyer named James." They stared at each other, realization dawning. "Our friend knew about the prank," James said quietly. "She set up a real date to intercept it. She knew I'd be here, knew you'd show up expecting a date, and made sure you wouldn't be alone when that guy's friend didn't show." Claire pulled out her phone and texted Maya. "Did you know about the prank?" The response came immediately. "Yes, Mark's friends are awful. I couldn't let them humiliate you. So I set you up with James instead. He's a good man. Real date, not a prank. You're welcome." Claire showed James the message. Despite everything, they both started laughing, the absurdity of the situation, the relief, the unexpected protection from a friend who had anticipated cruelty and countered it with kindness. "So this is a real date?" Claire asked. "Apparently so, and I'm glad it is." James looked at her seriously. Can I tell you something? When I stood up just now, it wasn't because I'm some white knight. It was because I have a daughter, and the thought of anyone treating her the way those men were treating you made me furious. Sophie deserves to grow up in a world where people are valued for who they are, not mocked for circumstances beyond their control. Tell me about Sophie, Claire said, genuinely interested. Over the next 2 hours, they talked about everything James's experience as a single father, balancing demanding career and parenthood. Claire's journey rebuilding her life after the accident. Their shared values about raising the next generation to be kinder than the current one. Can I see you again? James asked as the evening ended. Actual date? No drama? Just two people getting to know each other? I like that. Claire said, but I need you to understand something. I'm in a wheelchair. That's not temporary. It's not going to change. If you're looking for someone you can fix or save, I'm not that person. I'm whole exactly as I am. I don't want to fix you. I want to get to know you, the architect who designs accessible. Space is the person who responded to those cruel men with grace instead of anger. The woman who makes me laugh, despite being in the middle of a ridiculous situation. James paused. But I also need you to understand something. I have a daughter. Who comes first? Always. Any relationship I have needs to work for both of us. I won't introduce you to Sophie unless this is serious. Is that okay? More than okay. It shows you're a good father. Over the following months, James and Claire built something real. When James finally introduced Claire to Sophie, the little girl's first question was direct. How come you're in a wheelchair? I was in a car accident, Claire explained honestly. My legs don't work anymore, but everything else does. The wheelchair helps me get around. That's cool. Can I decorate it with stickers? Claire laughed. Absolutely. 6 months after that, chaotic first date, James proposed at the same restaurant where they had met, the same table where he had declared she's with me. You were being mocked by cruel people, and I saw someone extraordinary being treated as less than. I said you were with me before I really knew you, but I meant it even then. You deserve to be defended, valued, seen. Wheelchair with the ring. Will you marry me? You let Sophie and me be your family? Will you keep teaching us that worth is measured in character, not ability? Through tears, Claire said yes. But only if you promise to always remember that night. That you stood up for a stranger because it was right. You saw past my wheelchair to who I actually am. That you chose to see possibility rather than limitation. I promise, James said. How could I forget? I told a restaurant full of people you were with me. I'd like to spend my life making that true. At their wedding with Sophie as flower girl. Claire's vows made everyone cry. Cruel people tried to humiliate me. Good friend protected me. And my husband defended me before he even knew me, because he saw someone being treated unjustly and chose to act. Thank you, James, for saying she's with me that night. Thank you for continuing to choose me every day since. If this story reminded you that standing up for others matters, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment about when someone defended you when they didn't have to.